Uh,
Hey, what's up, man?
what's going on? What's going on? I'm 151.
All right.
We got Lady Internet and CP3 in the building.
What's going on, man? Hello.
Yeah,
Hey.
can you hear us?
Oh, y'all. Yeah, can y'all hear me all right?
Yeah, yeah. And we got Mr. It's Mr. Rahim, right?
Yes, this is Rahiem from
Okay, it's
Grandmaster
funny because
Flash.
my name is Rakim. We got Mr. Rahim from the Furious Five, legendary hip hop
Uh-huh.
group. Um,
Yep.
man, I just want to pick your brain because like you like a certified OG uh, hip hop legend. Um,
Thank
First of all, welcome to At the Bar.
thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. This is a big interview. I'm a hip hop head. You can't tell, so a little choked up. Uh,
It's all good.
that that that's such a classic, group and record and stuff. Um, I'm gonna let Lady Antoinette start us off.
Well, you've definitely been a pioneer in this industry. Um, Tell us how you think the current state of hip hop is. That's a very common question, but someone from your era, we really want to hear
Oh wow, y'all just want to dive right in, huh? Y'all.
No.
Uh,
It's my fault. That's me all the time
Hold
because
on.
we gonna skip all that because we know who you are. But I want
Right,
to know
right,
how you feel because we usually have artists, the younger artists, up and coming artists, and I want to
right.
know how you feel about that right now.
Okay, so, the reason why I said y'all want to dive right in is because, generally, that's one of the questions that's asked, but it's usually not the first one, and it kind of gives us an opportunity to build up to that. But since y'all want to dive right in and stuff, and oh, y'all don't want to give them an appetizer first. Here we go. Here we go. This is the main course right here.
Hmm.
My take on the current state of hip hop, without placing the blame uh, on the artists, because generally, in most cases, the artists aren't the ones who are in control, uh, with the exception of very few. Um, but generally, the artists aren't in control of the material that they make. They're being, told what the kind of material to make, to create.
Hmm.
And if they don't create that kind of material, they're generally shelved. Um, there's a reason for that. One, we're no longer in control of our culture and haven't been for quite some time. Um,
True.
the en- the entities that are in control of our culture are our government, surprisingly to some people, and the prison system.
Hmm.
Um, and in between 1989 and 1990, which was a changing of the guards, as it were, for rap music. Because, okay, so in 1989, the biggest rap song of 1989 was probably "Fight the Power" by Public Enemy,
Yes.
and so as a result of that success and the resurgence of the dormant Black Power movement, um, being being resurged after, excuse me, re-energized after, you know, being dormant since the '60s, for the most part, and it began to, you know, kind of like emerge again in 1989 a little bit, but then to curtail that, a company called Corrections Corporations of America, the largest independent facilitator of privately owned penitentiaries in this country, who have made deals with 48 states in this country to have a privately owned penitentiary erected in that respective state based on the condition that that state could maintain a 90% incarceration rate. Um, if you are an impressionable adolescent who loves hip hop, um, and all you hear from your favorite artists, probably more times a day than you hear your parents or your teacher, because you keep earbuds in your ear or whatever, and they're telling you that the very blueprint to their success uh, is to stand on a corner, in the lobby of a building, wherever, and sell Molly, Percocet, dope, coke, crack, you name it. The most influenced demographics of that population by that music becomes that, and that's called the power of suggestion. And the power of suggestion is extremely powerful, but it's very subtle. And so we don't realize that we're being programmed, but the very people who are in charge of what we listen to um, every day on our local radio stations and our local, television uh, networks are called program directors. And so program directors, uh, you know, uh, dictate whatever the programming for that respective network or that respective station is going to project to the listener. It's called broadcasting, right?
Mhm.
Right? Broadcasting is the same thing as casting a spell. Casting a spell and broadcasting are one in the same. Broadcasting and casting a spell. Uh, the only difference between broadcasting and casting a spell is that broadcasting means you're casting a spell on a much larger level, but you're casting a spell nonetheless. And if you think that it's not casting a spell, then you have the wrong perception of what magic is. All right.
Mhm.
Um, Casting a spell could be as simple as placing a curse on someone. When someone says to someone else, you know what, you ain't never gonna be ish, and you know all that's needed in order for that curse to be effective is for the person whom the curse is that's being placed on to believe it,
Yes.
right? And so uh, advertisers spend millions and millions of dollars every day to influence consumers through broadcasting and through other means of advertisement um, that we need their products. That's called the power of suggestion. So they're very well aware of how powerful but how subtle it works. Um, Another case in point, uh, you know, if you notice, or if you've noticed over the years, at one point in time, the sale of cigarettes and tobacco products used to be advertised. Used to be advertised on television, in magazines, and that sort of thing. Okay, so after the last Surgeon General caught heat from uh, not acknowledging the fact that cigarettes, cause. lung cancer or whatever on packs of cigarettes where it said, the Surgeon General has determined blah 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 or whatever. Um, so as a result of that, um, now the tobacco industry has been regulated by the government, and so they are no longer allowed to advertise the sale of tobacco in any advertising medium
Right.
because they full well through the power of suggestion that a certain demographics of the country already smoke cigarettes, but if it were to be advertised, a much larger population would be affected and smoke cigarettes. So, they're aware of how it works. So that's as all of this relates to rap music. We're being our music is being weapon or has been weaponized against us. And people, there's some people who recognize that, and then there's some people who don't.
Right.
And my my uh, you know, the only thing that I have to say to the people who don't recognize that or who don't acknowledge that our music has been weaponized against us is, sometimes you could be so deep in the forest that you can't see the trees.
Mm-hmm.
You know, uh, when you're so close to something, sometimes you don't see, the effects that it has, or maybe you might have a tendency of overlooking the effects. But when the effects, you know, are at your doorstep, like for example, you know, I bet you the majority of your favorite rap artists, who are like top tier today, I bet you the majority of them who have children don't allow their children to listen to their music.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I, I'd be willing to bet money on that.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
If they especially if they have young children.
Right.
Yep.
true, true. CP3, you got a question for him?
I definitely appreciate you calling in and appreciate your perspective because I kind of feel the same way. I'm not an old school guy like yourself. I am consider myself an old school hip hop head, but the message that's being put out there and being circulated and being played over and over again is, like you said, it's putting a certain mentality out there. So, what can we, the consumer or the artist, do to try to curb it back to some type of message, positive message, and try to get that out there, even though we know the big labels aren't going to promote that type of music?
I think that one of the most effective ways to get back to some sort of semblance of diversity in rap music would be one as consumers, as listeners. I think that we have to do a better job of vetting, what artists that we support because, and I'm not saying to completely, you know, uh, uh, abandon all of the artists who make this kind of music, but I think that there needs to be some, more of a balance because there was a time in rap music, the late '80s, when rap music was at its all-time most diverse, and there were, a multitude of diverse artists that you could listen to that didn't sound like one another. It wasn't like this cookie cutter, wasn't this cookie cutter mentality where, if you turned on the radio and listened to, you know, the top 20 songs, that every one of these songs sound alike, and the majority of the songs they talking about the same thing in all of them. You had Tribe Called Quest, you had Rakim, you had Slick Rick, you know you had Salt and Pepper, uh, MC Light, you know, uh, it was just much more diversity. But, as corporate America became more aggressively uh, uh, involved in our culture, because it's corporate everybody, not just corporate America. Every corporate structure, it's their job to learn culture, assimilate it, and then create their own version of what they feel our culture is supposed to be, and then regurgitate it and sell it back to us. Okay? And so that's what they did. That's what they did with gangster rap when gangster rap was ushered in 1990. Okay? And it there are people who are advocates for gangster rap, and they'll argue me tooth and nail and be like, you just I'm just uh you know outdated in my thinking, or it doesn't have an effect on the mentality of the youth, and so forth and so on. But if you were to do a case study and survey, two groups of adolescents, and you put them in two separate rooms, and you know, uh, you play Light FM in one of the rooms exclusively the whole time, and then you play aggressive rap music in another room, and you observe the behavior, you'll definitely see a distinctive difference in the way that they behave. I mean, I even notice it for myself. Like, if I listen to aggressive rap music while I'm driving, I drive more aggressively. Like, if I'm listening to if I listen to DMX or Tupac while I'm driving, like, don't be walking in the street. I might hit your ass. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and so people who don't believe that music and visual images have this kind of effect on us, they just they're either in denial, or they just haven't paid enough attention, because visual images and audio frequencies are two things that enter our subconscious mind without our permission. And a perfect example of that is, how many times have you heard a song that you absolutely hated, but because it was in heavy damn rotation on your local radio station, after a while, this song that you absolutely hated, you knew every word to,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
True.
That's right. That's because of the perpetual playing of it. One, anything perpetually played, eventually, as much resistance as there is, or as there could possibly be against it, unless people just, you know, stand together and vehemently be like, you know what, we're not going, don't play that no more, we ain't listening. Unless people take that stance, they're going to keep playing it, you know, because it's their job, it's the program director's job, uh, because they were given their orders from the corporate entity to
Mm-hmm.
program the listener, because they're in business with the radio is in business with uh, uh, with the prisons as well, because they made like like closed door deals with record company executives and radio in 1989, 1990.
Right.
And that's, I mean, how else would you explain how abruptly the changing of the guard, so to speak, happened in rap music?
Right.
Because there was no gangster rap in 1989, really. Like I wouldn't say there was gangster rap in 1989. You might have heard a little something. You heard Cool G rap, or you might have heard uh, my man Schoolie D with PSK or whatever. But like it wasn't it wasn't mainstream. Like every station wasn't playing that, and every artist wasn't trying to be a gangster
Right.
until the ushering in of gangster rap officially. Because once they ushered gangster rap in, they made it pot. They completely obscured, uh, the original rap music.
Right.
And so now I'm not saying that we need to obscure gangster rap. What I am saying is that the solution is we need balance. You know we need to be able to have access as listeners to all of this music. Because gangsterism is a reality. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that we should completely, ignore and not acknowledge the fact that these things do happen in our communities. Um, but it's not the only things that happen in our communities, and life is such a broad topic overall that we as artists have the ability to talk about a multitude of life's circumstances at any given time in any given song.
It's deep. Um, I have a question now. I finally can get mine out.
Sure.
So,
Hmm.
when did you know that hip hop was going to be the juggernaut that it is? When did you know that this music was going to literally change the world?
Um, different. There were different things, different pivotal, events that took place in our career uh, that kind of gave me a bird's eye view of where things were going and how influential, rap music was or is. And one of the things was that uh, you know obviously seeing it from its inception to it becoming a multi-billion-dollar industry. I've seen every nuance of it, and in watching its growth, and seeing you know it during its infancy, and the things that stuck and the things that didn't stick. Um, it you know it made me feel, and I can't speak for any of the other guys in my group, but it made me feel um, uh, like when we went to our you know did our first show in a foreign country. Um, One of the things that made me know that rap music, you know, influenced the whole planet was, here we are in a foreign country and their primary language wasn't English, but they knew every single word to every song we performed.
Mm.
Like that
That's
was
powerful.
that was that's powerful. You know, these people don't speak English. They know every single word to every single song we perform, and after our performance, the whole Coliseum stayed to see if they could have a beer with us.
What?
To see if they could have a beer with us.
Oh
Do
my!
you know how drunk? You know how drunk, like, I don't even drink beer. Man, yeah. So,
I can't even imagine walking out of a whole coliseum trying to buy it. Woo.
They
like, yeah, because we performed at this this festival in Germany called Oktoberfest,
mm-hmm.
Oh,
and oh, and October all about beer.
Yeah, it sure
oh
Yeah,
man.
is.
Woo.
yeah, crazy.
I bet it was. Lady
Yeah,
X,
and
what
then,
you got?
I'm sorry. Any other questions?
Oh, we got plenty.
Well,
Oh, okay, cool.
I have another question. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we do credit you guys for laying the foundation of hip hop. And of course, we are so thankful for that. But a lot of times we kind of look at the why and the when. But for you, do you think there's anything that you would do different as far as laying down that foundation? If you could do it all
Um, if I could do it all over again, uh, I mean, I'm not a regretful type of person, and I'm happy with my contribution, and I think that maybe possibly if I could rewind the clock and do this over from the beginning, um, there's a couple of things I probably would do differently. Uh, I probably may not have been a member of my group if I could do it all over again. Um, I probably would have been a solo artist. Um, I probably would have had my own label.
Mm,
Um, I probably would have, much more diligently pursued uh, writing and producing for other artists. I mean, I do that. I've done that for years, but I haven't like really gone like hard and aggressive, to get my production on. I mean, I was a staff producer uh, working with Teddy Riley when he produced the group Blackstreet,
okay.
um, and I was also a staff producer working for Dr. Dre right before he signed Eminem. But you know, people don't really know me as a producer, and I am. Um, so that's probably another thing that have I would have changed if I could have.
Okay, what you got, CP3?
Excuse me. On the producing aspect is also, make some beats and try to get into the, different genres of making beats. Um, Now we see the impact of hip hop, like you say, on everything, and along with movies and movie soundtracks. You mentioned getting to the producer aspect more of it. Could you ever see yourself getting into that aspect of going into like movie soundtrack production?
Well, yeah, actually, uh, if you are familiar with the film Juice starring Tupac Shakur,
Yeah.
um, I wrote, produced, and sung and rapped on a song that's on the Juice soundtrack that I got a gold record for called "Does Your Man Know About Me?"
Mm-hmm.
Um, and um, I don't know if you're familiar with a Netflix original series called The Get Down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I like the that was my joint.
Oh, okay. Well, um, Nas and myself wrote all of the rap lyrics for the actors in that
Oh,
series. Yeah.
cool, cool.
Um. Yeah. And let me see. in the days, like there was a group called Riff
Yes,
that
Yeah.
yeah, the movie soundtrack Lean on Me.
mm-hmm.
Well, I had produced and written a song that was on their album project, and it was called April Fool. But I'm not sure if their album was ever released or not. But I definitely wrote and produced that song.
So you've been busy. um,
Yeah, yeah. I'm quietly, I'm a musician. I've been the first instrument that I learned how to play in school, like reading chart music and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
was tenor saxophone.
Okay.
Played in my school band, and then one day I was walking through the hallways of my high school and found a key on the floor. And I tried it to every classroom door until I found the classroom door that fit, and it just so happened to be the piano room. So whenever I didn't want to participate in gym because they was playing a sport I didn't want to participate in, like volleyball or something,
Mm-hmm.
I would cut gym class and lock myself in the piano room and turn the lights out. Uh, and I learned how to play the piano in the dark. I taught myself, and so I play keys, and after that I picked up a guitar and uh, taught myself a little bit of guitar. So um, I do production, and you know, I I don't mind I don't mind sampling, but if there's a sample that I can actually play, then I prefer to replay it.
Right.
okay. Are you working on any like memoirs or anything like that? Because you have such a great history.
Thank you. I'm actually working on a three-book autobiography uh, series, and my first book is due for release in September. And my book series is called The Books of Rahiem.
I like it. September.
September, okay.
Yep.
We'll
hmm
be able to get it at.
Uh, the, the, the first book will be available in September, but it's a three-book series. The first book entails, the story of my childhood uh, prior to my involvement in hip hop culture. No.
Oh, that sounds like it sounds like it's gonna be very deep and going all the way back from your before hip hop to then you
hmm
into hip hop. I think that's it's gonna be very
Yeah,
interesting
because
to read.
in order to truly get get an idea of why and how hip hop began and what the elements were that or excuse me, the circumstances that were in place socially that propelled the youth of of the Bronx to engage in this movement that was unbeknownst to us that became this multicultural, multi-billion-dollar industry.
Cool, cool, cool. You got something for
Yeah.
Lady Antoinette?
Yeah, I have one question. Hopefully this is a fun time for you to flashback on some things, but can you tell us one of the maybe the craziest things that you have experienced in the um, entertainment business, as you would say? Um, you had such a vast career. Can you tell us one of the craziest things you experienced?
Well, one of the craziest things that I experienced uh, was, during rap music's growth period, before it was completely, accepted by everyone. In New York City, this melting pot of, you know, ethnicities. You would think that, you know, when you think about a show that happened in Manhattan, in Midtown Manhattan, at a club called Bonds International.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, my group, we opened for a punk rock group called The Clash.
Mm-hmm.
The Clash are a very popular group, and so the place was sold out. We were performing two shows this night and opening for The Clash. So when and so this is an all white audience that we're performing for. This is 1981, and this is before rap music was accepted by, you know, uh, uh, the the pop was accepted by pop culture or white people. Okay, and so white people were not yet exposed to rap music or rap performances, concerts, and so we were opening for the Clash. And when we walked out on stage, um, you know, Flash, he was the first one from our group to go out on stage. And when he walked out on and he got behind the turntable and began to scratch a record, um, the audience was expecting us to be a band because they had never seen rap artists and they didn't know that rap artists, for the most part, used a DJ and not a band. So uh, everything was all right for a short period when Flash first walked out on stage, even though they were expecting us to be a band and we weren't. Um, and so Flash was cutting up, some records or whatever, and then it got to the part in the show where we walked out on stage, and the stage, it was a man-made stage. It wasn't, it wasn't, a very sturdy stage. It was pretty rickety. And so when we got up there, we did, choreographed dance routines. And when we began doing our dances, this was pre DAT tape or pre any other digital kind of sound medium to play, our show. So Flash was physically using records, using vinyl to cut up the songs that we had, to perform to. So the stage is rickety, Flash is cutting, and the needle on the record began to skip. Once the needle on the record began to skip, this all white audience, they turned hostile and they began to pelt us with all kinds of debris. Um, they were going to the bar, ordering cans of beer, and they were throwing 4 cans of beer at us. Um, and the only reason why the show went on our behalf was because we were getting paid $18,500 to do one show that night, but we were scheduled to do two. So the show went on, We stayed up there performing and ducking debris simultaneously. And when that performance was over, before they let that before they let the next hostile white audience in, because the same thing happened both shows. We hopped off the stage and walked through the audience to see if we saw any, we could recognize any other white people that was throwing stuff at us, but we didn't. And so the next show, we got back up on the stage and did the same thing, and the same result happened. So that was very traumatizing. It's very traumatizing. Period, for any artist to stand before any audience and you know and the audience turn hostile. Like
Right.
that's not it. That's the worst case scenario for every artist. So and especially if when we were the only black people in this whole club, so like it was like damn, like was this a setup? Like yo, like but but the only reason why we kept going is because we were getting paid that money,
Hmm.
you know. But that was yeah, that was a crazy experience. We were on tour with Rick James one time, and rest in rest. Yeah, and the things that Charlie Murphy, rest in peace, said about Rick James were absolute truths. I was physically there when Rick James slapped Charlie Murphy. Um, yeah, I was physically there at Studio 54. Um, Rick James was an Aquarius, and, and so am I. And so we connected uh, when my group toured with him, and so he called me his little Aquarian brother. And every time he would come to New York City, he would call me, and I would meet him wherever he was, and we would hang out.
Mm.
So I remember one time I hung out. He told me to meet him at the Parker Meridian Hotel in Manhattan. I went there, and he was like, "Yo, we gonna go to Rockefeller Center and meet up with Eddie Murphy." So this was when Eddie Murphy was on Saturday Night Live. So we went to Saturday Night Live, and we met Eddie Murphy, and Smokey Robinson and Jamie Lee Curtis came and met us there, and we all went to Studio 54 after that and hung out, and that's where uh, Rick slapped Charlie Murphy. Yep, yep, yeah, man.
What did you do when you saw that happen? I have to know.
I I just giggle my ass off. I mean, I've seen Rick do some wild stuff. Like one time, because one of the reasons why he took a liking to us is because we did a show somewhere with him, and while we were on stage performing, some guys broke into our tour bus and like stole our belongings, like a lot of our clothes were like scattered in the street, and because they like took uh, suitcases and stuff, like rummaging through suitcases to like find valuables or whatever. And so we had gotten off the stage, and we didn't know that our tour bus had gotten broken into yet. And so one of our roadies uh, came downstairs and was like, "Yo, the tour bus got broken into," and he said he thought that he saw some guys that was in like a field across the street from where the tour buses were parked, and it seemed like they knew something, or maybe they were involved, and we should come up there. So we all got dressed and we went up there, and we went and some of us went over and confronted the guys in the field, and they didn't respond favorably or whatever. So we started scrapping with them, and then I came back to the tour bus and uh, walked on the bus to see, what of mine was missing, and when I remember I had some stuff in a closet on the bus, and so I walked to the closet and opened the closet door. And when I opened the closet door, I saw someone standing in the closet. I could see his feet, but he had my coat over his face and head, but he's standing in the closet. So I closed the closet door back and I go outside the bus and I whisper and call all of the rest of the members of the group and was like, yo, there's some fool inside the closet door. Uh, inside the closet on the bus. Um, and so we all got on the bus and we opened the closet door and let the games begin. We whooped him, uh, and he was very, very happy to see the police when they got there. And so after Rick James saw, because he came outside the Coliseum, he saw us putting it on that dude and a few of the dudes that was in the field across the street. He was like, yo, I don't need no damn security on this tour. All I need is Grandmaster Furious 5. They whoop somebody ass. So after that, he put us on his tour with him. And so it was Rick James, and we were on tour with the Commodores when Lionel Richie was still a member, and Carl Carlton, the dude that made She's a Bad Mama Jamma and the Fatback Band, and Switch when Bobby DeBarge was still alive, rest in peace, the Gap Band. Uh, man, we toured with some heavy hitters, with some greats that helped to um, influence, uh, the people who made the music that became the early foundations of rap.
Right,
True, true indeed.
right.
Yep.
So,
CB3, you got a question?
Nah, that whole Rick James through my whole mindset. I don't even, just the fact that he was there when it happened. I'm just replaying the Dave Chappelle skit in my head right now. What did five fingers say to the face? That's all I keep on thinking right now. So I don't even have a question now. I'm sorry. I'm diving somewhere else, man.
Man,
Right, right, right.
you almost thrown me off, CB3. I'm not going to fall for it. So, what is your Mount Rushmore of hip hop?
You know, I'm always asked who's my top five, and
Yeah,
you know, I don't really, I wouldn't, I don't do that. Um, the only reason why I don't do that is because uh, it's a few reasons actually. Um, I don't like you know, any rap artists for the same reason. Like I wouldn't compare, uh, like people compare Jay Z and Nas. I'd never compare the two because there's a distinct difference between the two of them.
true indeed.
Jay Z, Jay Z uh, cares about, understands, and knows that there is a precise formula to making commercial hit rap music.
mm-hmm,
Okay,
mm-hmm,
Nas, either he's not concerned with trying to uh, uh, be commercial, um, and he's happy with his core fan base, and so he makes the music that he doesn't step outside of his comfort zone to appease a larger uh, demographics of people. All right. So that would be like the difference between Michael Jackson and Prince.
Right.
Right. Okay. Two great, but both great, but great for different reasons. So that's the reason why I wouldn't compare the two. Um, so that's why I wouldn't say one is better than the other. They both are great in their own regard, to me. Um, I like different people for different reasons, different artists for different reasons. And, um, I love Busta Rhymes' energy, and he makes some, he makes some, some of the dopest party rap music around. But as dope as a rap artist as he is, I don't particularly want to hear Busta drop science, even though he's intelligent and his last project he dropped science and I thought it was dope. But that's not really what I want to hear from Busta Rhymes.
You want to party with Buster
Correct. Yes.
because that's what
You know what I mean? So
his hits are known for.
right. And I think, that's his niche. That's his strength, you know. And we all, have a we all wanna, explore our artistry and venture outside of our comfort zone, or that which is that you know what we're known for, um a lot, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, when I like your music, there are reasons.
Right.
I, Everybody likes everybody's music for a reason, but for me, I just try not to uh, compare artists to the degree where where I'll say, somebody's better than somebody else, because I try to appreciate them all because I'm still an artist, and I would like to believe about myself and my artistry that I can still be competitive. So for me to put five other people in the top five and not include myself in that demographics, I think I'd be doing myself a tremendous disservice.
You hit on such a good point. So one of the things I tell young artists when we ask these questions, who your top five or your Mount Rushmore, very rarely do they put themselves in that book. And
Right.
I always tell them, if you ain't your biggest fan, then how you expect other people to believe you? If you don't believe in
Exactly.
yourself, you know.
And will there?
And I'm so happy a legend said it because that I think that is the perfect mentality of anybody, any artist. You should strive to be number one.
Mhm. Right. If you don't, why are you doing
Exactly.
Mhm.
it?
This is why I tell people, pay attention, especially when we have these shows like this. Tap in because we're going to give you something other, some knowledge and stuff. And this is stuff that we've repeatedly said on the show. And then to hear a hip hop legend say it, it just solidifies everything that we do. And and that mentality with him saying it without even any of us hitting at it. We just wonder what you're gonna say, and then when you hit that point, it's like, boom, you know, it's classic.
And and not even out of arrogance, or or delusion, because some of us, um, from the inception uh, era of hip hop, um, some of us believe that we're the greatest thing since sliced bread, and there's nothing wrong with that thinking when your ability matches that attitude. But if you don't have the ability that matches the attitude, then that's something else. So if you do a little uh, research and you know uh, you you find out who Rahiem from the Furious Five is today, as compared to who I was, you'll find that I'm a little bit different than uh, the other uh,
Like,
MCs from my era,
yeah.
and that's all I'll say.
I would say this when you start naming Juice and you start naming that you work with Dr. Dre through the early stages at Eminem, and you've done a lot behind the scene, producing riff, like you stay constant and relevant in music and so many eras, and you basically almost had a hand in each era of hip hop. I mean, it's legendary. Um, you know, um, we're gonna give you your flowers while you're here. You know, what you've done is very impressive because um, I didn't even know everything. And just hearing it, it's you in awe. And um, we salute you for that. Like honestly, genuinely, like to hear all the stuff and then you not even just talked about the good, you talked about the bad too. Like so many people will give you cookie cutter interviews and don't tell you the real shit. You told us
Hmm.
at a time when people were throwing cans at you on stage. Um, like the honesty and the rawness, we appreciate that so much. Like like real talk, we honestly do.
I want to say, it's a surreal moment for us. Like I said, we talk to a lot of new artists and up and coming artists. We tell them often to research your craft, so that would bring them to you. Um, Truth be told, I remember, and this was so out of the box. Shout out to my middle school music teacher who made us research hip hop. We had a whole class. We had to go from the beginning up until that current time. I'm not gonna say how long ago that was, but but we had to do that. And yes, you guys came up. I mean, so to talk to you right now, it is a surreal moment, and I'm hoping that all of those who are watching can understand that a lot of these things do come full circle. I mean, here you are, you know, you're producing music on a current show, so you're still influencing hip hop even now. And for those who, I feel sorry for those who choose not to research their past, not to understand how we got to this point in hip hop. I feel sorry for them because, kind of to touch on what you were saying before on how our music is used as a weapon. We're trying to get out of that. We need that knowledge. You need to know where everything started and who's influencing what, who's doing what. So thank you so much for all that you have done and contributed to our culture. Because we know hip hop is a culture;
Culture.
it's just not a type of music. So I thank you so much for all that you have done.
CD3, you still on the
You're
train?
welcome.
You got something to say?
Now, just piggyback off of what everyone said. Appreciate you dropping the knowledge and giving us the real. Giving our audience the real. You are a legend in the game, taking the time out and spitting some good knowledge and giving some good stories that I wasn't expecting. And just telling about the journey that you're going through and have gone through. Now, like I said, working on the book and advancing in everything that you're doing, not just the rap game, but all in all, producing and writing a book. just showing folks that you have to have multi streams of revenue coming in to survive this game, no matter who you are, no matter what things you've done. You have to keep on growing as a person, as an artist. And hats off to you for continuing your journey. And good luck on your book. And we'll definitely be looking out for it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And the bottom line is we are all we got, and it is our absolute duty to inspire and motivate each other. So, you know, we we help to birth it and bring it to the forefront. And now here we are, 40 plus years later. And so, uh, good, bad, or indifferent, we made it to this point. And so now, we just have to figure out how to successfully uh, turn the tides back. You know, uh, it's not going to go back to what it was, but we can make it better than what it is. That's
Okay.
all.
So before we let you go, though, I have to know what is your
Hmm.
best hip hop moment?
My best hip hop moment.
Yes.
Okay, so now let me just be clear about something that I don't think the audience and maybe you guys maybe not might not be aware of. So okay, so we know that hip hop is a culture,
Yes.
and so rap music is just one facet of the hip hop culture. So now when you ask me what's my most notable or what's my favorite hip hop moment, so hip hop was prior to the embracing of rap music by the music industry. What's going on is not hip hop, it's just rap music. So now, back to the question. My favorite hip hop moment or my favorite rap?
Now you put me on the spot. Let's go with your favorite rap.
Okay, so my favorite rap moment. Um, One time my group and I were at a club in New York City called the Savoy, and it was uh, it was an award ceremony. It was called the Urban Contemporary Awards, and the president of our record company at the time, Sylvia Robinson from Sugar Hill Records,
Your record.
uh, yeah, she made us go uh, to this award ceremony. We didn't want to go, so when we got there, um, it turned out to be an absolute star-studded event, right? And so I'm walking around in the mezzanine area of this club called the Savoy, and out of nowhere, the legendary Luther Vandross and the legendary Quincy Jones run up to me excitedly and was like, oh my God, can we take a picture with you? You're one of the members of Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five." And I'm like, yo, get out of here. Y'all must be kidding me. Can I take a picture with y'all? Like, what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Like, that was a surreal moment for me.
Yeah.
And, oh, one more short one. Um, so I see, we're in LA and we are about to do Soul Train. And so I'm waiting for the limousine to pick us up. We're staying at a hotel, the Hyatt Regency, and it was on Sunset Strip. And so I'm standing in front of the hotel waiting for the rest of the group to come downstairs, and I'm dressed in my full, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five show regalia. You know what I mean? So I'm standing there, and this brown and beige Rolls Royce pulls up to the light right in front of the hotel. And it stopped at the light, and I look at the driver, and the driver is a black man, and he looked extremely familiar to me. So I took off running. So I chased this Rolls Royce for like two and a half, almost 3 blocks. he sees me out his side view mirror, and he pulls over. And when he gets out, it was exactly who I thought it was. It was the greatest, Muhammad Ali.
Stop. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, it was. Yo, he got out and he kicked it with me, and the rest of the members of my group saw it from like 3 blocks away, and they came running down there. He was like, "Oh my God, y'all pretty just like me," and like, so it was everything. Like it was. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it right now. Like,
Mhm.
yeah,
Man,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you held your composure. I might not have been any good.
I wouldn't have
Either one of
been.
those.
Yo, I held my composure, but I was so excited that I couldn't even remember the man's name. All I called him the whole time was the greatest, you the greatest. Word. Yep.
Man.
You got something out.
I might not even put
Right,
that out.
right.
I ain't gonna lie.
Yep.
Oh, man. So do you have any other projects coming out besides the book?
I am working on some new music, solo project. Um, I'm not sure exactly. I don't have a release date or anything like that. I'm kind of just going off of my my own internal vibe, and when I'm in a good space and I think it's a good time to release something, then I will. And I'm hoping that I feel that way in the not so distant future, like sometime this year. Um, and I'm working on a couple of other things that will uh, help increase my residual income streams. Um, I am actively involved in buying, selling, and trading NFTs and cryptocurrency.
Okay.
Um, I am, pretty literate as far as uh, cryptocurrency, buying, selling, and trading, and NFTs, and I just partnered up with a tech company called Think Tank, and we are embarking on uh, uh, buying, selling, and trading NFTs and cannabis industry together. And what else? What else? I have. I'm developing a hip hop game show, hip hop trivia game show, um, with a little comedic twist, and I'm also uh, promoting and putting on some concerts um, that will eventually become a residency in Las Vegas at the newest, most expensive casino in Las Vegas called Resorts World.
Oh, so you just don't plan on sleeping all this year? You just gonna be up for the rest of
Nah,
the year?
look, ain't no sleep till Brooklyn.
Oh yeah.
And
um,
I'm from the Bronx, so you know what I mean? Like, nah,
definitely.
just I'm just um, very focused on getting more out of rap music, and the culture, because I feel like I put in a lot, and
Well,
I didn't collect,
you
I
definitely
didn't collect nearly what I put in. Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
you definitely did.
So,
Do you have any social media that people can contact you on or anything?
yeah, if you go to Instagram, it's Rahiem, RAHIEM .official, and I mean, I'm on a few other social media platforms, but if you follow me on Instagram, You can connect with me on the other ones as well.
Okay, well, we definitely want to follow you. We definitely want to thank you for this interview, man. This. I was so excited to do this interview, and it's been a highlight of my day. Honestly, it's very few times I get lost for words where I don't even start to ask the first question. Like I was so excited. So, thank you so much. Shout out to Songbird for setting this up. We appreciate you, man, and we love the stories, everything. We're going to support. I'm definitely going to get the book when it comes out in September. And anytime you want to update us on your progress, you're more than welcome. We don't really have fans; we have family that come to.
That's what's up. I appreciate y'all. Much love.
All right,
Thank you.
man, if you missed this show, you should really yeah, you can run it back. All right, we'll do a quick video break, and then we'll be back, man.
Thank you, real quick.
Uh, okay. Oh yes. Shout out to Nanya. She set the interview up and then she sent us some pizza
I
too.
know, thank you. We
And
adore you.
and she supports the show, and you gotta.
Well, you said we got family, so I guess that's our family right there.
Yep. So we definitely so thank you. Let's play some videos. What you want to hear? I'm a cheat. I'm always play Renegade.
Run, young.
That boy Peace with crazy.
No. I was down, now I'm really about to go get up. 10 rounds, now that nigga can't get up. That's what you get when you go fuck with the vision. My money be piling, we don't do division. The feds be watching, I just gotta get up. I was just down, now I'ma get up. Sleeping on me, I bet that they get up. My money was low, but now I'ma get up. Oh, bet that we get up. Pushing this weight, I'm doing sit-ups. I was just dirty, now I got my fit up. Too good for these bitches, I bet they gon' miss us. And I pack a bag if you think that I'm trippin'. I keep this shit brisk like I'm sip lip down. Even though niggas don't know what to get on. You ain't shit till your niggas go and get on. Get you some pack, go make a flip homes. Yeah, I'm stuck in my bad ways. Niggas always being burnt out, so I dip them all in the ashtray. I don't understand these niggas that just always talking about, yeah, they past ways. I don't understand these bitches always comparing me to they past days. I give a fuck about you, you give a fuck about me. I just be rapping for money, you be rapping for free. Feel like that I rap like a god, the reason they call me a G. I'm against all of these odds, niggas ain't fucking with me. Never no worries, Hakuna Matata. They say that I'm hot cause the devil with Prada. I'm Soulja Boy first and these niggas gon' follow. Catching no feelings, you catching these hollows. Ride with Rodriguez like I fuck with Rollo. Ain't got no time when I see this Movado. Bet that bitch shine like I'm in Monte Carlo. Looking at me like I done hit the lotto. Counting your last days, get hit up. Talking that trash, Shay on Twitter. Your bitch, she be bad, yeah, I'm with her. When she see me, her face be lit up. Boy, better go ahead and mind your business. I don't go back and forth like tenor. Run this game, I don't get no finna. But we bout to get up. 10 rounds, now that nigga can't get up. That's what you get when you go fuck with the vision. My money be piling, we don't do division. The feds be watching, I just gotta get up. I was just down, now I'ma get up. Sleeping on me, I bet that they get up. My money was low, but now I'ma get up. Oh.
Benji, how you do that there?
Zombie, you're a genius.
Yeah.
Double M Visions.
What's that supposed to mean? Man, what's that supposed to mean? Hit him in the rock me, make his shoulder lean. Yeah. Next they buying guns, taking pics, what's that supposed to mean? You can't duck the smoke, lace that blunt, that's that special weed. We legit the plug, break it down, you won't find no seats. Way before the polls and the violence shit was TLP. And stop the speaking on my name and do no hits with me. Tell KO to sit one out, he'll do it here for free. Physically I'm straight, I blow the bitch, but fuck the mentally. Pass it to the bay, I'm a